Hello friends, and welcome to another Nostalgia Talk. I'm James, and let me just explain what Nostalgia Talk means. Anyone who knows me knows that I am an old soul. I love watching TV shows from my youth. I love watching movies from my youth. And I like listening to music like 98 Degrees, Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, Phil Collins. I'm just a very nostalgic person.
That's a relatively new phenomenon. Since the internet and fan conventions, nobody knew who we were until things like your podcast. Thank you very much, by the way.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And going to the Comic-Cons of the world. That's when people started to know who we were, and that's when we found out, oh my God, people know who we are.
Just remember, celebrities are people too.
Hello there, compadre, Mr. How are you, friend? And it's good to be here. As Ed would always say, how do you get water from this thing here?
Mike Petersen is one of the best teachers I have ever had.
Very kind of you to say that, James.
He was standing right in the theater, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Mike," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know exactly who you are." I think did I freak you out at all doing that?
Well, you certainly have an energy about you, James. I won't say that you freaked me out, but your energy and your enthusiasm did make an impression upon me.
I'm very glad that I did that.
Hey, James, great to meet you.
Great to meet you as well.
It's a lot of fun to talk with you about this. I don't know anyone that's more enthusiastic about the Muppets or the Sesame Street, or probably you know more about this stuff than anyone. It's a lot of fun to share it with you and have a couple of laughs about it.
Pat Fraley. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Well, you actually did. And I'm so pleased you hear it right.
That was Crank, by the way.
Yeah.
To infinity and beyond. I had applied to NASCAD, the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design, for like the basic kind of 4-year fine arts program. I got accepted. When I saw the tuition, it just scared me.
Jeez.
It was just unbelievably high, and like the student loan that I applied for the community college one, I mean the tuition was like under $1,000 back then.
Right.
And I had found this room and board, this furnished basement of this nice old lady's house that was in town that I could live in 5 days a week. I'd carpool back home, the hour and a half drive back to my parents' place every weekend to do laundry, and it was like $80 or $70 cash every week, and that was it. I'd have a bed, a TV, and she'd make me supper every night, so it was great.
I told my friends that I'm going to be talking to the voice of Tweety on the show, and so many of them went crazy. Like, they were so excited. Do you think Tweety could say a little hello to them?
Give me someone specific to say hi to.
Okay, my friend Kaylee in particular was the most excited.
All right.
Hello, Kaylee. Hello, it's Tweety. Kaylee, I love you. You want mail, Princess Kaylee?
So, did you ever consider puppeteering on Sesame Street in addition to doing character voices?
For a minute and a half, I'd say. Yes, I was terrible at it. I will leave the Muppeteering to the Muppeteers.
We were all in each other's armpits underneath each other like this. There's a lot of, it's like an iceberg, so there's the puppet on top and then there's all this human flesh underneath. Generally, when you have an assistant puppeteer, they're very sort of polite to the person controlling the head and stuff, but then you have exceptions, like Crazy Rob, who would take the world into his own hands and usually created a lot of life into the puppet because you're thinking on the moment to match his craziness. So yeah.
So you basically, so occasionally when you did those characters, because they were in the same scenes a lot, did you perform them on both hands?
Yeah, so the piano had a hole in its top, so like it's a stand-up piano. I would have the plans on the other hand, so I would be doing them both at the same time.
Yikes.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff is, it ruins your back, but it's fun, and you get to try to mind meld two characters at once. Eventually the piano got to get hands.
If you physically play the character, the voice will follow. So you look at the facial expression, you look at if they have an underbite, you'll extend your jaw to give yourself an underbite that might change the sound of the character. If the character talks out of the side of their face, if I talk out of the side of my face right now, it kind of changes, takes me out of the equation a little bit. If it says that the character is from the East Coast, is from New York or New Jersey, talk out of the side of my face, and next one of a New Jersey, sort of the next other diamond right here. If it says that the character, let's say he's a little bit of an older character, so you age the voice a little bit. Perhaps he smokes, so you add a little bit of a smoker's cough or a smoker's voice to him.
Jeez.
So there's all kinds of layers that you do to create the character.
I did get to work with Sean Colvin, who's a folk singer. Do you like Sean?
Oh yeah, I have Sunny Came Home in my phone. I sometimes listen to it on my walks.
And I was singing backup for Caribbean Amphibian. Yes!
I have a talking Kermit the Frog doll in my room, but basically if you squeeze it, it sings Caribbean Amphibian.
No way! I didn't even know people knew that song!
That doll's how I used to wake up my sister.
One of the other books that had the humanoid characters in it was I'll Miss You, Mr. Hooper,
Right.
which had to do with the death of Will Lee and Mr. Hooper. And he actually died on the show. And I had to draw them in a very sad mode, that sort of thing. I remember talking with Bob McGrath about that. And he couldn't talk about it without falling apart, frankly. He said, we did that show in one take. He said, we couldn't do it twice. It was too difficult, emotionally.
You did 2 episodes of that,
Yes, I did.
and you said that you had a long story about it. Would you like to share? For the viewers, I know you can't see it, but he's dying laughing, so I have a feeling that this is going to be very entertaining.
Okay. So the one where Bella and the kids all went to that Western, recreation town. Do you remember that episode?
Oh, I've seen them all.
Okay. And, they all had to dress in, prairie costumes and everything and learn what life was like in the Old West. And my character, who had been established as the choir teacher before, was the one who was going to be taking them there. So he was going to be dressed in Western gear and everything like that. And when they first got to this town, which they had set up outside of the soundstation, it made this old Western town, and it was just this huge monologue saying and I was supposed to be in this character like I was trying to be a Western guy. And we had rehearsed it like that, and then for some reason it hit me on set that day that I went, I don't think my character would be capable of doing this Western guy. This isn't right. This doesn't feel right. I got a little bit panicked, a little anxiety, and I was having trouble getting through it. Producers go, well, we don't want an actor like that. I think they weren't sure whether they were going to keep using the restaurant set as part of their storytelling, as a device.
Okay.
Or not. And when they did keep it, they made me the go-to recurring maitre d'. And originally, I think the character's name was Walter, and they were on set the first time. They go, yeah, we don't like that name. What if we should find a different name? So just goes, just use Patrick. They go, yeah. And then suddenly I was Patrick. I was like, do I have a choice in this at all? You're using my own name. It felt a little weird, but it worked out.
Yeah, to basically be named to have the character basically named after you. That's what I had kind of figured.
Yeah, that's kind of how it happened. But it was a very casual moment. It just goes like, yeah, I don't like that name, Walter. Which What should we call him? Call him Patrick.
That's funny.
That's how decisions are made in Hollywood, sir.
I just had Patrick Bristow on the show, who's a member of the Groundlings.
I love Patrick. Patrick is great.
Hi, Patrick, if you are listening.
You better be listening, buddy.
It allowed me to always know that I had the power to choose where I was in this moment, and also my happiness or my unhappiness, right? You know, and so I know I said it at the beginning, but it was really a powerful thing for me when we decided to run across. Well, we decided to run across Canada and then around the perimeter of the states on a tour called Run for One Planet, and it was all to inspire kids to take actions for the health of like ourselves and for our Earth. And that's why I was saying going across Canada, it was literally being the voice of Corey that allowed us to be into schools with our message, because it also helped, you know, us just connect with kids, right?
Nice.
Right, to be able, you know, at first kids thought we were really cool because we ran there, right, to their town. But then when I'm like, yeah, I want to save the planet with Corey, and my partner Steph was in this as well, and you know, and kids just went like bananas, and we realized, oh my God, the voices actually could help to lend, you know, positivity and almost feeling like we're already going in talking to friends that we already know, right? So it was really cool, you know, and then with being the voice of Ed, when we got into the States, it was that same, like when that face that you just did with me doing Corey, right? When we went into the States to go to a school, and I went like, oh, who wants to save the planet with Ed and Sparkly Stephanie and, you know, and Raphael, and like schools with 2,000 kids lost their mind.
I would describe Corey as one of Ian's older but very stupid brothers.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, hi Corey, I didn't realize you were right there.
I don't know what you're talking about, stupid. What do you mean, stupid? Hey, everybody, it's me, Jimmy the Dude, the first person.
Well, I think you're looking at it from a distance. I went, oh, great, a gig. I get to play with my friends.
You know, it's been a delight talking to you. You know,
Thank
especially since you're so informed about, you know, all things Henson, and then of course you did your homework about my career as it is. You know, I think you're a very, very skilled interviewer, and it was just really lovely talking to you.
Did Tim Allen give you any advice going into doing the role of Buzz?
Yeah, it is. I talked to Rick Dempsey, and I said, yeah, I'd like to, you know, see Tim thank him because it was a lot of money, you know. And he said, you know what? Probably not. Because Tim was a little irritated that his brother wasn't doing the role, and I might get him on the wrong day.
Oh, wow.
So James, I never met Tim Allen.
Oh.
Never. And the last thing I would do if I met him today would mention that I did Buzz Lightyear.
So he didn't know.
Who's this guy?
Well, Tim, if you are watching this is the guy that did your voice on all those times that you were busy doing Home Improvement, the Santa Claus, bunch of other stuff.
Oh, thanks, James. He'll be over here with a gun.
Would it be okay if I had a quick chat with Bucky the Squirrel?
Sure.
Squeak, 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 squeak. Hello. I'm gonna ask him how was your day. Squeak, 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 and squeak. Bucky was telling me that today he went to the mall and a whole bunch of people saw that there was a squirrel in the mall, and rather than calling security, they actually admired the fact that there was a squirrel in the mall.
And what was really cool was that he was wearing a mask.
Hey, this is just a human guy. This guy drinks coffee out of a styrofoam cup just like everybody else. And that bubble that appeared around him got smaller and smaller as the days went on, to the point where he's just hanging out with us like the rest of us. And so there we were. And we're in a room. I mean, I'll speak for myself now. I'm in a room with George Lucas, Jim Henson, and David Bowie all at the same time. How did I get here?
And if you're bored waiting for the election results, this is probably the place to be.
Hello, I don't think I'm as exciting as the election results, but thanks for asking me to be here.
Thank you all for taking time out of your schedule to agree to chat with me over the last few months that I've been doing Nostalgia Talk and share your stories with me and with our listeners.
That's all, folks.